first thing I wanted to do before I started chatting about doing stuff is I wanted to share this. If anyone hasn't gotten a copy of Autism Out Loud yet, you can still get your signed copy, signed by all of us. Copy of my new book, signed by all 6 of us. I just went to the post office, or the UPS store, I guess, and mailed 500 book plates signed by Coops and me. There we go. Pin comment. Oh. Okay. Okay, so good. Hi, everyone. I haven't really done a video, just like a really good video for a while. I have my retreat coming up. So on May 15th, we have 200, right now it's 251 moms or female caregivers coming to San Antonio, Texas. And so I was just finalizing, it's official, the agenda. Look at how pretty this is. Look at all these fun things. Oh. We have Autism Out Loud book celebration. We have Kendra Scott, Little Rebels, Welcome, keynotes. We have breakout sessions by Eileen Lamb, Tiffany Weaver, Mia Corello, book signings, lunch and learn, dessert. Can't pass that over. A keynote by Camille Joy, dance party, cocktails, riverboat cruises. It's official. So this has sucked up my sanity. Wow, it has. And then I tried to go to, so I have so much stuff for the nonprofit. It's like books and sweatshirts and t-shirts and all that stuff. I have so much of it that I had to rent a storage locker to keep it because my husband's like, get this out of the garage. So it's all in the garage. And I don't know if you guys ever feel this way, but like everything that you do, there's a barrier. So I brought Jamie with me to the storage locker today because I need to move so many different things. And the door was broken. The door to the storage locker was broken. Like, what are the darn odds in that? So I wasn't able to get my stuff to ship, and I just almost could have just started crying because I have so much to do with the retreat, and I just feel like I'm running in mud. But that's okay. We're going to get it all to Texas, but I'm close. I'm so close. And just for a quick overview, we are still selling and hopefully selling, and people are reading the book. I was in Raleigh for an amazing event with Adrian, my fellow co-author, Adrian Wood. Oh my goodness, the event was so beautiful. I just saw Tammy. Hello, Kate from Raleigh. So nice to meet you. Were you in Raleigh with us? Tammy, did you come say hi? We just had the best event in Raleigh. And I was saying on some other video or to someone, I have fallen in love with Southern people. They are the best. They're so, every Southern woman that I met was so put together and so beautiful and friendly. And I was like, I feel like in the northern states, we more hibernate, and they were like so welcoming and so nice. So that was fun. And then I had a really great event at Anderson's Bookstore in Chicago, and Carrie came to that. So we had Carrie, Adrian, and I, and I think we had 140 people come to the event, and in total we sold like 200 books, which was so fun. And a lot of people bought my first book. I always get really sort of giddy when people buy my first book because Forever Boy is just a piece of my heart. And so every time someone buys that book, I just could hug them. and then flew home and just was kind of in a whirlwind. Came home to a baseball tournament. And oh, Grace was excited to meet the three of you in Chicago. Victoria, I fell in love with Grace. She was just lovely. I've been sharing about her and how, when my son was first diagnosed, he's 14. When he was younger and going places was so hard, and it's still very hard, so I don't want to act like it's not. But I would look at young adults like this amazing Grace that I met, and I was just so in awe that they could be out in the community. It was just, all these feelings like awe, pride, amazement, maybe a little bit of jealousy, just that and at all my events, I usually have quite a few, I'm going to say a handful of young adults with disabilities, all severities that are at the events. And the one that I just did at in Erie, Pennsylvania, there was a young man there who his mom said he had severe autism. He wasn't on speaking. And while he couldn't sit, he was there the whole time. And he stood in the back, and I just wanted to hug her. I was so amazed. My son Cooper couldn't do that yet. Not yet. I'm using the power of, the power of the word yet. He couldn't go to an event where you're expected to be quiet. But he's, come so far. So I'm always so in awe when I see these young adults. Her info dumping was exhausting for her. I know, I'm sure it was. Grace was very verbal and had lots to share, and I just fell in love with her entirely and completely. So we had Cooper's IEP this morning. So for anyone that doesn't know, when you have a child with a disability, Cooper is on what's called an IEP, and I'm sure everyone knows that, but just in case someone doesn't. So we work very closely with his teachers, and it's his individualized educational plan. We had the way ours works, because we had one before October, we had to do one before the end of the year. And what was so great about today is he's transitioning from 8th grade to high school. So 8th grade to freshman, totally different building, totally different team. And his new teacher is a guy, which I adore. And this guy seems awesome. And the school psych is so nice. She's so nice. And she's going to be tough. And I think in the best possible ways. Like, I'm really impressed by this new team. And so then we had 1, 2, 3, 4 people from his current team. So 4, 5, 6. There's 8 of us total, which is actually a very small IEP meeting. We've had 16 people around the table, and those aren't good ones. They're just not. They're just hard and sad. This was just like a great experience. And I feel like now that we're at 14 and, we're reaching, middle school was hard. And I've heard just great things about high school. And I had this moment today, and I don't speak all that much about it. I do cover it pretty in-depthly without names or locations in here in the education chapter. But we had some bad things happen. We've had some really bad things happen. And I'm allowed to say that. We've had, my friend Jillian Benfield calls them IEP wounds. We have some. And we had a really, really bad year, or I would say, let's say months, where someone that wasn't directly involved tried to have Cooper go to a different school, and it wasn't the right setting. It just wasn't. There was something not right about it. And my husband and I were riding home from his meeting today, and while we may seem like strong advocates, and we are, we often go with the flow. Truly, we really, really go with the flow. and we don't push back very often, but in this instant we did, and we pushed back, and we got pretty close to mediation, and then it fizzled out. And as I was sitting there at this meeting today, Cooper's in the right spot. I've never said that before in 14 years. You've never heard me say that. Cooper is in the right spot. And I always say sentences like this: it's taken us 14 years to get right here. I know that sounds, when you really think about it, but it's like, we have never been, I don't think, where we were supposed to be, and now we are. I have really high hopes for high school. Cooper will be in this he's a young man teacher, and there'll be four total level 3 boys. One is verbal, and 3 are nonverbal, and the other 3 are returning, and Cooper is the only freshman, which sounds so crazy. Cooper, a freshman, what? And this school psych, oh my gosh, I just am so impressed with her. And she was like, I need to be pushed sometimes. I can get very protective of my son, to a fault, I think, where I don't want his life to be harder. I don't want him to be pushed out of this comfort zone, or truthfully, just because we've had such bad things happen. And she was like, so our goal, there was 2 things. She's like, our goal is to get Cooper into some mainstream education. And I was like, for real? And she's like, yeah. Whether it's him going into a mainstream class, or whether it's him going into, what do they call it? Oh, there was a name for it. It's where neurotypical kids opt in to be in this class to unified. Or if it's a unified class. And she's like, we won't just plop him in there. We'll talk to you about it. We'll do the first try here. And then once he's ready, we're going to push towards that. And I just like smiled, and I was like, thank you. He needs to be. I need to be. We get like in this like safe little bubble, and then we're like, as long as nothing goes wrong. Well, no one's perfect. He needs to be pushed a little bit. So I love that. And then, we had a conversation about being an adult and what an adult looks like for Cooper. And it doesn't look like it does for me or you, but hi, Judy. But there are lots of areas where Cooper can still make really big improvements towards being an adult. And we talked about what some of those look like, and where he has room for growth. I've never really had a conversation like that about Cooper before. I think, to be honest, up until 8th grade, it was all like crisis management. Can anyone else relate to that? Like, it was a lot of like crisis management and like damage control, and it was looking back, not looking forward. Like, how do we make this work now? How do we put a Band-Aid on this? Where I felt like for the first time, we're like, here's possibilities. Here's ideas. We talked about how Cooper absolutely hates gym. We just giggle. He just hates it. He hates it. But he still needs to do some physical activity. Does he have to run a marathon? No. But he can walk around a track, or ride a bike, or throw a ball, and so we were just kind of chuckling, and I love this new team. I'm really impressed with them. So just wanted to share that. Something that has been told to me numerous times, and I'll share it with you because it's really helped me. And again, not true for everyone, but middle school is hard. And whenever I talk to parents, middle school is hard. And then I hear that there's this breath of fresh air when high school starts. So I'm feeling it. I'm not feeling any grief. I'm not feeling any sadness, truthfully. Maybe when it comes time for that driver's license, or I was thinking about graduation or prom. Sawyer, my 12-year-old, asked me, he's like, will Cooper go to prom? And I didn't know what to say. I'm sure there'll be sad moments, but right now I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about this high school stuff. So, woo. I wanted to share just something with you. There are, okay, how do I word this? Today we had to go over Cooper's strengths. We shared Cooper's strengths, and Cooper's funny and he's smart and he's lovable and all his parts. And then we went over, the parent-led part. What are his biggest challenges? And I said the same thing that has been the challenge since day one. Cooper's biggest challenge is waiting in the community, not waiting at home necessarily. To the point where if we're walking up to like a zoo and he sees a line, he just cannot handle it. And we kind of talk through the reasons why and, the parts that we know. And I'll just share that I've always said, if you heard me give a keynote, Cooper doesn't understand this world. It just doesn't make sense to him. And I don't think the world necessarily understands him. So I think he just gets anxious. And he's like, I don't know what to do with my body. I don't know what to do I don't know what to do. I'm waiting and I don't know what to do. And so going out into the community has always, since day one, and I'm talking newborn, been our biggest challenge. And I think that's why our isolation factor, mine, has always been so high. Raising Cooper through this diagnosis has always felt like doors shutting in our face. That's what it's felt like. We've been in this hallway and it's like, let's go to the park, door slam. Let's go to this indoor playground, door slam. Let's try an adaptive movie, door slam. You could just keep going down until eventually it's like, well, I guess we'll just stay home. We can't go anywhere. I know so many of you can relate to that. And so I used to get sad, heartbroken, devastated. I could go on and on. I remember when we couldn't go to splash pads anymore and we couldn't go to parks without fences. And then we couldn't go to any place near a road. And we tried to camp and we'd have the only kid screaming and crying the whole time that couldn't sleep in the camper. Or I could go on and on. And I don't need to, because so many of you can relate. But so we have lived a life of isolation, I'm going to say for 12 years. And when you have 3 other kids, like we have 3 other very busy, engaged, active, involved kids. And how do you navigate this life? Like, how do you have one in travel baseball and hockey and AAA hockey and horseback riding and, list all these things, play dates and all this stuff, when you have a child who can't safely leave your home? And I think a lot of us live that life in secret. We just do, right? And so my husband and I would split up. Jamie would bring Sawyer to baseball and I'd stay home. I'd bring Harbor to hockey and Jamie would stay home. And that worked for a while, but there's animosity. Truthfully, like it's we want to do stuff as a family. This stinks. It's not fair. And I used to have a really hard time. I shared this on my subscriber live. I have a subscriber group, which I didn't share the link, but I can, where I really go into topics a lot more. But one of the things that used to be really hard for me is where, I would try to bring Cooper to Target and we would just have to leave and it wouldn't work. And I'd, share my story and a fellow mom would say something like, well, I have to bring my child everywhere, so my autistic child can go everywhere. I mean, talk about feeling like a piece of poop. I mean, for so many years, and I've said these sentences, it's like, why is this so hard for my child? What am I doing wrong? Why can't he go to the sensory-friendly movie? Why do I have the only kid laying on the ground kicking and screaming? And so I just stopped going. I just stopped. I just hid because it just got to be too hard. Cooper is now 14, and I was just saying this today to his IEP. He has made so much progress this year. I mean, just unbelievable progress. This 14 year, this year 14. I would say 13 too. I would say 8th grade year. 8th grade year has been a big turning point for Cooper. And the biggest, and for anyone that's, in the thick of it with a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old, and you're just really, I'm talking to you. You were just really struggling. This year, Cooper has become more willing to try. I always say like moldable or palatable. Like he's willing to be encouraged or bribed or motivated. And it's like, we're starting to try things now. So this past weekend, we went to 2 baseball games, and he made it one whole game and then 3/4 of a game. Unbelievable that he did that. I'm still in awe that he did that. And it was hot, and it was sunny, and it was people-y, and there were barbecues going with hot dogs and hamburgers that was smelly and loud and people everywhere. And he did it. Now, would it be a success by neurotypical standards? No. I was saying today, in the 2 hours that we were there for the first game, Cooper probably switched seats 50 times. I know that's hard to believe, but like he went from the camp chair to the grass to the path that was hot. I think of like a concrete path, almost blocking the concrete path, which we have to work with him on, back to a chair, to someone else's chair, to laying. He just can't sit still. But he's not running anymore. He's not like he used to be. He's more of a teenager now. So, but constantly moving. It was unbelievable. Like, I can't believe that he did that. And, he does require 100% of either my time or my husband, Cooper, his dad's time, where our 3 and 6-year-old can like play. Cooper has to have eyes on him. And one of the things that I have been meaning to write about is, the title will be Our Autism is Messy. And, now that Autism Awareness Month is over, we're still living. Hello. We're still here advocating living autism. It's out of the news, right? And people don't want to know about messy autism. You do because you're living it and you're curious, and most people don't. And, our messy autism is not understanding social norms. Like, we don't block a path or lift our shirt up, and we don't pick our nose. We don't toot. We don't lay on the ground. We don't, so many different things. And we're working constantly teaching. We're constantly teaching him and working with him, encouraging him, while like trying to soften his edges to the world. And thankfully we were amongst all of our people. This was our baseball team. I watched Sawyer, and I shared this video. I think that a million people have watched it, that you fell in love with. Sawyer brought Cooper to his bench. In between, they had just won the game to go to the championship game. And this is all 12-year-old boys. And Sawyer brought his 14-year-old brother, who is his brother, that he loves, to sit on the bench. And for like a hot second, I was like, oh my gosh, is this going to be okay? And so when we walked in the dugout, I was like, hey, boys. I'm like, this is Cooper. You guys haven't met him yet. This is Sawyer's brother, and he has autism. And they're like, Coops, what's up? They like were fist bumping him. And, and you have to think Cooper's watching Barney on his phone. That's what makes him happy. And there is a world where Sawyer could feel embarrassed or sad. He didn't. He was like eating his chips, and he's like, this is my brother. He needs to be in here. It's hot out there. He's just, I think my greatest accomplishment so far is Sawyer, is just raising this beautiful, loving person. No one's perfect. I mean, all kids are hard, but Sawyer is just such a good person. He's such a good person. Took my breath away for a second there. A funny story too. I was going to share this later, and I know if I'm repeating myself, subscribers, I'm sorry. So Cooper was sitting outside the fence, the dugout fence. So like the baseball team was like inside the dugout, and it's chain link fence. And Cooper was like, and I was like, yeah, buddy. And he like pressed play on his iPad, and it said, "They're animals." And he pointed inside the fence to the boys. And I think it's because they were, one, in a fence, but two, they were like hooting and a hollering and a yelling and, hitting the fence and being animals. And Cooper's like, he's funny. He's like, "They're animals." I laughed out loud. I was like, "You are so funny." Second game was hotter. It was about 83, and Cooper made it, but the other two kids my 3 and 6-year-old were getting real hot, so brought them home. And this summer, and I just like made this pact with myself. This summer, we're going to do stuff. We're going to try things. And so I talked to Sawyer about it, and I was like, I'm going to bring Cooper lots of places this summer. And he's like, good. And I'm like, do you want to help me if I go someplace and you're free? And he's like, yeah. And so then last night I said, I need to go to Home Depot and buy some boxes to mail some stuff for the retreat. And I said, Cooper, do you want to go with? And Cooper was actually having a hard time for a second. He was, we're making some changes with the technology in our home, and he can get pretty worked up, and he was getting pretty dysregulated. And I was like, Cooper, do you want to go shopping? And he was like, and so my husband, Sawyer, and Cooper and I went to Home Depot. Now, there's not one thing in Home Depot that Cooper would want, but there is treats at the front. And I wanted to stretch him. I'm trying to teach him. No, Cooper can have a treat, so I want to be clear. Don't someone say that I'm mean. But I just wanted to stretch him. Like, he didn't need to get a treat there. We were going to go to a different store. And so we were walking through the store, and he was looking at things, and while Jamie was paying for the boxes, he pointed to the treats, and I was like, we're not going to get anything there. We're going to go walk to the next store. And he was getting a little animated, and I was like, I think you can wait. I think you can wait for the next store. And he typed DVDs, because that's what he shops for. And I was like, no, there's no DVDs here. And so we were walking to the store, and he was getting the next store was this Dick's House of Sport, sporting goods store. And he was getting a little animated, and I was like, we don't buy stuff at every store. And I was explaining it to him, and he understood. I mean, when you have a 2-year-old, and I had to really be honest, when you have a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old throwing a tantrum over a Snickers bar or whatever, that's one thing. But now, if you have a 14-year-old or an 18-year-old or a 25-year-old, that can prevent you from going. So I'm working real hard on, we have to learn. Just because he has autism and a disability doesn't, we have to learn. Sometimes it's no, sometimes we can't. And so we walked to the next store, and he was so funny on the escalator. Oh my gosh, you guys, he's so funny on escalators. He like elfs it, where he's like on the escalator. And he went up and he went down. That's pretty good. He sat in a chair for quite some time. And then when he was done, I let him pick out a treat, and Jamie and Sawyer were shopping. Sawyer had a gift card. And so we went and sat outside. And we just sat outside and talked. And when I say this sentence, Cooper does things every day that amaze me, it's truthfully for real. We walked around 2 stores. We didn't get something at the first store. We picked out some gummy bears at the second store. There were no DVDs. And it was interesting because someone said to me, well, one of the things that we learned in ABA, and we've done 3 years of ABA when he was younger, and it was very beneficial for us. Our therapist taught us to, Sean, I missed you at the book signing. Oh, can't wait to see you in Texas. We missed you. Our therapist taught us, when you start going to stores with your kids that have challenges and need to practice, don't even plan on buying anything. And so, truthfully, Cooper's 14. I still would never go to a store with a list. He just couldn't do it. Not yet. I think we did one grocery shopping trip where my husband came and Cooper put everything in the cart, but then we went and waited while he paid. I wouldn't say Cooper likes Target all that much just because there's nothing really there that he likes. And I had someone sort of make a jab at me about not letting him buy all these treats at Sam's Club. And I'm hoping that it was like a sweet jab. Like, I would let him have Oreos and Nilla wafers and graham crackers because I had said you have to choose one. A lot of individuals with autism are obsessive eaters. And I wouldn't have known that until I was in this world. So they can eat. They don't necessarily feel the feeling of being full. They will overeat. There's a lot of challenges with weight with autism. We're working really hard on that. And so we just can't have all those snacks in the house. We can't have bulk boxes of Oreos and Nilla wafers and grams. We just can't. And so we work really hard on not having all that stuff. And every time we have like Easter or Valentine's Day or Halloween, or we end up with all this junk again, just like every other family. And then we have to sort of weed it out because, food can be a real problem. It can be a real problem. So, yeah. But we're going to keep, hi, Susan. Welcome to Coops Troops. That's so cute. So tonight, Sawyer has a baseball game, and Harbor has his first t-ball game. And so we have to split up. We don't have anyone to watch Cooper. So I think I'm going to take Winnie to t-ball because there's a park, and I don't want Cooper to get distracted and not allow me to watch the game. And Jamie's going to bring Cooper to Sawyer's game, and then we'll meet up. So we're going to try. And our kids are getting older. We can't miss things all the time anymore. We have to make this work. We don't have all that much help anymore. And so this is the summer where this kiddo has got to be doing stuff. Oh my goodness. Oh, Jamie, amen to that. Amen to that. So wish us luck tonight. It's 80-some again. And none of these darn fields have shade. Have you guys, do your baseball fields have shade? None of them. I ordered this giant umbrella, and hopefully that helps. But I don't think it's going to be here till tomorrow. But I need an umbrella for Coops. T-ball is fun, but once you make it to like 12U baseball, which is awesome, T-ball is a little like, they're all tackling each other for the ball. Oh, it drives me bonkers. I'm like, it does. Like, T-ball is still where they're all running to the ball and tackling, where 12U is like real baseball. Real baseball. It's so fun to watch. And I love seeing Harbor, so I don't mean it like that. I love it, but it's just sometimes it's a little long, a little exhausting. The T-ball kids play for treats, which who doesn't? Hi, Debbie. We can't really do a tent for lots of reasons. Cooper gets really hot in the enclosed tents. Lots of reasons. but we're experimenting and trying things that work. Okay, I'm gonna hop off. Just before I go, if anyone wants to come see us in Austin, Texas, there's still tickets. I'm gonna be with Carrie and Adrian in Austin, Texas on May 14th at Book People. Come see us. And then the 15th to the 17th, I'm at the Caregiver Retreat in San Antonio, Texas. And there's probably about 9 tickets left. 9. So if anyone wants to come to that, that's the 15th to the 17th. Okay. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Wish us luck. We're going to baseball. Okay. Bye.